That fall, I started second grade. At school, they had a hot air balloon show. We got to go out to the bigger kid field and look at the giant, pretty balloons. They did this before the festival that used to be held beside the lake. My maternal aunt and grandma took us to the festival. I loved it. The balloons lighting up, the smell of hot cocoa and apple spice, and the big fireworks show at the end were amazing to me. Then, a few weeks later, we went to the town-wide weekend festival, which I always loved. To this day, I actually travel back there just for this festival. There's food and so much to see. I remember walking for so long, but I loved it. That winter, Mom and Dad had a really bad fight, and my aunt and uncle. Dad's hippie sister he called her a hippie because she loved the 60s, peace signs, and tie-dye. Came and took us to live with them. I loved it. I felt safe there. We didn't have a bedroom or anything. I slept on the couch in a pile of blankets in her single-wide. But I got to play video games for the first time. I started playing A Bug's Life, but the original Resident Evil and Silent Hill rapidly became the most interesting to me. And my auntie finally let me play them on the PlayStation. Resident Evil was my favorite. I thought Jill was the coolest. I think my favorite part was when the spike ceiling happened. Silent Hill was pretty awesome too. My mother would often disappear with my aunt at night to some guy's house, and they would be gone from the time I got off the school bus until after I went to bed. My uncle would get me fed and to sleep. I got to have my hair cut for the first time for my 8th birthday, and I lost a tooth. The haircut was huge to me because I had really long hair, and I had absolutely hated it. I got it cut off into a cute little bob around my chin. I only got to have the haircut because I had watched a cartoon girl get gum in her hair and have to get it cut. I put gum in my hair and matted it down so I could finally get it cut. It was too much, but my mother forced me to keep it long until that point. My uncle taught me how to ice fish on their pond, and we spent hours out there not catching anything. Sometime towards spring, Mom and Dad decided to get back together and I had to go back. I was pretty sad about it, but I didn't have a choice. At least I got to hang out with the little boy when he was being babysat. I remember my last time getting off the bus at my auntie's house. I was really sad. It was Arbor Day, and the only reason I remember that specifically is because we would get baby trees from school that day. And I planted mine at my auntie's house before leaving for the last time that day. I finished school still friendless that year and spent the summer helping Dad in the woods. Dad's job was just him cutting down trees and splitting them up into firewood to sell to the local campsites during summer and residents during winter. Remember how I said the town is mostly whites? My dad couldn't get a job from most people because his skin was too dark, drinking aside. Not even the grocery store would hire him because of his skin color. But they did employ the local drunks. One of Dad's drinking buddies worked there with his wife, and he was almost always drunk even at work. Several of the employees there were constantly drunk. Dad periodically worked construction, paving roads and driveways with a specific crew that was mostly family. But he had been kicked off numerous job sites because they didn't want a black man doing the job. There was a lot of racism, and Dad, being darker, was unable to get a steady job because of it. I was with him when he was called an effing N-word and told that they didn't want blacks working the site. It's disgusting. So Dad worked for himself. He slept until almost noon, woke up and had a cup of coffee and a few cigarettes. Then he would pop open a beer, down it, smoke another cigarette, lace up his boots and drag Mom and I off to the woods. I would sometimes bring my Barbie dolls, wander off and play. Other times, I was forced to help. I hated helping because I was terrified of the chainsaw. I had been having nightmares since I was 5 of Dad cutting me in half with the chainsaw across my tummy, while Mom watched smoking a cigarette and laughing at me while I fell in half. I didn't mind operating the wood splitter, but I hated the chainsaw and wanted to be nowhere near it.